Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Tonight, we're going to be talking about becoming her, walking into your healed and empowered self. My special guest is Levante Dorsey. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to tonight's podcast.
Out of the ashes we will soar to a destiny we can't ignore. Heartbeats echo through the night with every dream an endless flight. Together strong, let's break the mold. Our rebirth and stories told. It's time to renew, rebuild, restore. Unlock the dreams we've been waiting for. Rise up higher, more and more. With every breath, a new dawn's roar.
Happy Monday. Welcome to Rebirth Podcast. I'm your host, Shay Marriott, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited tonight. Tonight, sitting with me on the couch is my sissy, the one and only, the beautiful Levante Dorsey.
She thinks I'm cute.
Is that what we doing tonight?
Best behavior. I don't know why people think I'm picking up. I am new in 2025.
Okay, Miss New. Welcome to the Rebirth Podcast
Thank
again.
you. It's my first time here.
It's your first time here in this studio. Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes. How are you?
Tired.
You tired? I guess so.
Nita Davis had me outside.
Absolutely. A special shout out to Nita
Don't
Davis.
shout her out.
Happy 40th birthday, love. You was turning up all weekend. I
Oh,
mean,
God.
y'all was doing the darn thing. How was the weekend?
What? She had me out since Wednesday. You mean the weekend?
That's how you do it for your 40th. That's how you do it.
We did karaoke, then the grand party. My feet was hurting, but I made
Mhm.
it. Then she went to dinner and still wanted to go out dancing. I ain't never seen her dance so much in my life.
Aw.
And then we was the grannies. Now the grannies was hilarious.
Now that
Well,
was
she was the
hil-
pop-up
that was hilarious. I absolutely loved it. Where did you guys go?
to Wilson's in New Jersey.
Oh, y'all was in Wilson's with y'all grannies?
Yes, when I tell you, the whole crowd stopped and was recording us
Oh
when we
my
came
God.
in. You know,
I
we
love
showed
it.
out.
I love it. What a wonderful birthday. A special happy birthday to you, Nita. May God continue to bless you on your journey.
Yes.
Happy 40th, mama. Happy 40th.
Holla.
Yeah, hallelujah, huh? There you go. So if you're just joining us, make sure you hit the subscribe button right now. Okay, subscribe to tonight's podcast. But before we get started with Miss Levante, we have a couple things that's coming up in our community. So I would like to share that with you guys. First up, we have the Mommy Burnout Group, which is the maternal burnout support group. The first session, there's 4 sessions, guys. So the first session starts May 10th. And it's May 10th, May 24th, June 7th, and June 21st. It's $100 for all 4 groups. There's a QR code at the bottom, so you can scan that and you can register for this group. Now, listen, please don't let the word burnout make you feel some type of way. Okay, because we all go through this as moms, whether you're a mother of young children or a mother of grown children, you're going to reach some level of burnout. So come to the sessions, have a great time. Let's normalize having some of this burnout feeling and find the techniques and skills that we need to do that we can use to work through it. Okay. All right. Next is breaking the code of silence. Now, listen, breaking generational patterns of emotional repression for men and boys. This is from ages 12 and up. The facilitators is Eric Robinson and Corey Strand. This is happening April 26th, and this is absolutely free. Okay. Breakfast is going to start at 9:15 a.m. and then the workshop will start at 10 a.m. Make sure he did this in February. And it was an amazing event. I didn't go, but my sons did. And they really, really enjoyed it. So listen, this is for the men in your life. Share it, send it to someone. You don't want to miss this. It's an absolutely great time. Okay. And then we have Africa Day Food and Culture Festival. This is going to be at Tubman Garrett Riverfront Park. And that's going to be May 24th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the entry is free. So you can't say there's nothing to do here in Delaware. There's a lot of free things to do here in Delaware. So if you want more information about this, you want to go to Africa Day 23 at yahoo.com. So funny story. I've been saying Yoo-hoo.
Nice. Okay.
You remember the Yoo-hoo drinks? Do you remember that? The chocolate Yoo-hoo drinks?
I love
Thank
that.
you,
I still
friend.
drink those today.
Thank you. Okay. So that's what I've been saying. I've been saying Yahoo. All right. Next up. Okay. So this is actually happening this Friday, April 18th. Parties by Bootsy's annual Good Friday Fish Fry. Now, come on now. Y'all want some fried whiting, some fried chicken, and some salmon cakes? Look, the information that's on here, you have to pick it up, though, I believe. I don't think this is delivery. Yeah, so it says, please be on time, y'all. When you arrive, please come to the door, and you can order your food. You want to call Miss Carmela at 302-655-0425. Make sure that you check it out. That's happening this Friday. Get your food on. Get your grub on.
Get your grub.
Yes, get your grub on. And then there is another event, and it's crazy because we wasn't able to get it up on here, but we have the I Am Built for This Relentless 2.0. Now, I'm not sure if there's tickets still available for this event, but you don't want to miss this. This is from our one and only, our family, Pastor Delisa Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you can go to eventbrite.com and get your tickets. Registration. Well, I think the early bird special is over. So you're going to have to pay full price for your ticket. But this is an event that you do not want to miss. And it's the I Am Built for This Relentless 2.0 with Pastor Delisa Lewis, Pastor Tanya Hall, and Pastor Dana Rue. Okay. And you can get your tickets at Eventbrite to register. Okay. All right. I think I got everybody.
All the church announcements.
Yes. And there are still tickets available. Hello, Delisa. Hello. She just commented on in the link. Yes. So there are still tickets available. So get your tickets. This is going to be a powerful event. And you don't want to miss this. Yeah. All right.
Amen.
Yes, girl. So how are you?
I'm good. I just want to say Jen called me a hoe when I walked in.
Lord Jesus.
She said because I got white toenail polish. I didn't know that.
White toenail polish means you a hoe?
I just thought it was cute.
Well, honey, I must have been a hoe a few times because I've had my toes painted white. That's a thing. Okay. Well, I guess we just gonna be hoes.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. Really? We go by fingernail polish color? That's very interesting. Okay. Very interesting. All right. So Miss Levante, thank you for joining us. I'm not gonna sit here and act like this is a professional interview because it's not.
I want to be professional.
No, this is my sissy. So we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a good time. And if you guys have questions, please put it in the chat. I will make sure I try to go over any questions that you all may have for Mrs. Dorsey here.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay. So we have been on this theme about healing.
Yes.
2025 has definitely been a season of healing for me, right? It actually started in 2024, but it has been a lot of challenges, and God had already prepared me, right? Because I said he gave me that word before the new year came in, and I didn't know at that time what am I healing from? You know, okay, I just had spine surgery in November, so I know physically I'm going through that healing, but then there were so many other things that were coming my way, and that was challenging, and I was just like, yeah, okay, I gotta, this is really serious. So knowing the things that I've been dealing with and I've been going through, I know that there was other people that are dealing with some things, right? Especially with this, this new person in the president chair and all the things that we are experiencing. People are on their own healing journey. You have been on healing journeys. You've been on several healing journeys, right? So I want to talk to you a little bit about what does it mean to you when I say becoming her, walking in your healed and empowered self. What does that mean to you?
Well, I've always looked at myself as a powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
It's something, even just the essence of my name being Levante, I always had like pride in.
Mm-hmm.
However, I noticed that there were a lot. I didn't notice this until after I had Noah, my
Okay.
2.5-year-old son, if y'all don't know, that there were a lot of things and trials and situations in my life that actually had me pretty jacked up.
Mm.
And that in essence, to become the best version of myself, I needed to go back and address them, but I didn't really want to.
Mm-hmm.
But to become this version, because there's still more growth to go, I had to go back and address some things from childhood,
Mm-hmm.
relationship stuff. That's like the biggest part. But yeah, that's what I think of.
Was that scary for you? When
Scary,
you say you had to go back
terrifying,
and
friends. Scary. What? Yes, it was.
yeah.
Yeah. I think because you tuck stuff away. And I think the scariest part was not only recognizing it for myself, but knowing that God was going to call me to tell the story
Mm-hmm.
and to be a vessel and a example for other people, which even today I'm still like, what you finna talk about, girl? Because it's a vulnerable piece in it.
Yeah.
But I also know there is a word in it, and I'm always about helping other people. So
Mhm.
while it's still scary for me, while I may not want to let those pieces out, if it can help someone else, I got to do what the Lord wants me to do.
Yeah. So I didn't give you the proper introduction, and I do
Oh,
apologize because
no, it's
she
okay.
is my sissy, and I know so much about her. I can't assume that everybody else do. Levante Dorsey is a licensed clinical social worker here in the state of Delaware, and she also is the owner of Levante and Dorsey Associates, which is a mental health practice here in Delaware.
Yes.
So let's back up a little bit and let's talk about the population of people that you serve.
Yes.
And why? What made you become a mental health therapist?
Oh,
What inspired you?
What inspired me was actually a younger cousin. And I tell this story. And it's funny because another cousin thought it was about them, and I could see the similarities, but it wasn't. But my younger cousin at the time had gotten into some serious trouble for armed robbery. And I remember thinking, what is it that we missed as a family? What were the signs? What didn't we dig into? What was he feeling emotionally that he needed to kind of unpack that we didn't do? And I was like, I like those kind of questions. I like helping people figure out the essence of what they feel. And so I went to UD undecided, but eventually I found my way into human services and then went to UPenn for my Master of Social Work. And then I currently the practice serves everybody, but I love working with adult women because I feel like we do some really great work and there's a part of them that I just understand.
Yeah.
The fellas too. They be trickling in. They do.
They be trickling in. And I'm sure that people want to know, just in case if people want to reach out for services, is your practice taking new clients?
Yes, we are. You can reach us on the web. It's my name, LevanteDorsey.com. Or just find me on social media and send a message and we'll get you set up.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Now we can fast forward because I apologize for that. Yeah. So what was the turning point in your healing journey when you knew you couldn't go back to who you used to be?
Ooh, that hoe that I was. White I
can't.
No, best behavior. Best behavior. Channel it. So I was really thinking about this, like which aspect of the healing would I talk about? Because I got some stuff in childhood that I actually remember when we did that EMDR, which is a certain clinical training.
Yeah.
That is like monumental because it was a big shift in my adulthood and recognizing some tucked away trauma that I had that needed to come out. So we tapped it out. I was crying. I was like, what the heck is this coming up?
Yeah.
However, it helped me rid of certain anxiety. So I knew that was a healing that needed to occur. And that was just based on, parents and them not being perfect and how some things that they did impacted my upbringing and was impacting my adult life that I didn't understand. And then, oh Lord, These relationships, boy, I tell you. Oh, that's like that's about 5 chapters right there, friend. You sure
That's
you
a
want to?
book.
That's a book.
Yeah, yeah.
So what was the original question? Because I
Well,
want to make sure I direct this right.
so the question was, when did you know you couldn't go back to who you used to be? Right?
Well, when I experienced the newest version of myself, because once you experience that growth, to go back would be doing a disservice to yourself and to not really take from those lessons that I had learned. I realized like, no, you need to stay here and then keep going forward. You need to keep taking the lessons and moving forward. And I would say it was that monumental EMDR day, and then the ending of a situationship, and then after the birth of my son.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So the childhood trauma that you endured, whatever age that was, what do you think as a child you needed to hear then? Like, if you had the opportunities to speak to the age that you were as a child when you were going through those things, what would you say to her?
Lord, girl. What would you say to her? A lot of it had to do with addiction.
Okay.
Of the family members that I really loved the most and cared about. So it would be one that this is a season, because the cool thing is that one of those people overcame their addiction.
That's awesome.
And that even through that, I am still very loved and cared for. But somebody that I truly love is struggling with something that they can't quite get a grip on yet. And that doesn't change how they feel about me.
Yeah.
Of course, some stuff is going to impact that. You're going to hear some arguments, some things like that. But the beauty in his recovery, I'm talking about my dad. And I don't usually talk about my dad because I don't want nobody judging my dad, because I'm a daddy's girl.
That's right.
But the beauty in his recovery from alcoholism was getting to see the new version of him, like the clearer version of him. He's still pretty tight. You ain't gonna get to me, but just to see that, and it was really cool. I just did the assembly at William Penn, and I tell the story of, growing up with my dad, and they go crazy when I say he is alcohol free since I was 13. Like, the kids love it. But in telling that story, a teenager there related to it, and now we have started sessions and everything.
That's awesome.
And so I know there's power in the story.
Absolutely.
I'm just really sensitive about telling it all as a protective daughter.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, you never know. You never know by sharing your story who you're reaching and who's in the audience. You never know, and I do encourage people to share their story, and I do share my stories because there's somebody out there needs to know that joy comes in the morning. You know what I'm saying? There's somebody out there needs to know that this is a temporary situation, that this is not a lifetime, and sometimes when we're going through things, we're in the crunches of it. It's like we have these thoughts of, this is my forever. This is always going to feel like this. Nobody's ever going to want me, or nobody's ever going to, make me feel happy again, or whatever those, narratives that we write to ourselves or we say to ourselves, so sharing your story, even if it just hit one person, you made a difference.
Yeah. I think that brings it to the next chapter in the healing essence, because I thought about the stuff that people I love and care about and respected would like pour into me that was actually negative and didn't help me. And so from going to graduate school, and at the time the pastor kind of questioning if I was qualified to get into the Ivy League, that was like a stab in the chest, throat, heart, everything. Or just being a plus size girl, woman, all of that, and how you're kind of told that you're always on this. You need to get skinny. You need to lose
Right,
weight. That's how
right.
you're going to be loved. That's how people are going to want
Mhm.
you. And really believe in that. That really messes up your psychological,
Absolutely.
your
Yeah,
confidence,
yeah.
and the recognizing. And I can't remember really when it was in adulthood that I recognized that I could no longer own their story of me,
Mhm.
and that I had to define myself in my own way and know that I'm lovable no matter what size, no matter anything going on with me,
Yeah,
and not to take on other people's projections or
yeah,
insecurities. So
absolutely.
it was a lot of healing stuff, bro.
We talked about a couple shows back. We talked about how actually me and Corey we were talking, and I was saying how I grew up in Violin, New Jersey, and how I didn't see women like me on TV.
Mhm.
We wasn't shown that, right? So whatever image that was shown, it wasn't of a black woman. It
Yeah.
was always like I mentioned Brooke Shields. They used to play Brooke Shields coming out this water. I think the movie was called Blue Lagoon or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh wow, she's swinging her hair and all of this. I'm like, well, my hair doesn't move like that,
Mm.
but it's just not being able to see those beautiful images
Yeah.
of black or brown women that you can look up to. And like you said, they're
Let
this is
alone
what you're
plus
supposed to.
size.
Right, exactly. So it's important that we see those images. And I love that the young girls growing up have so many beautiful women that
Yeah.
they can look at just here in our community,
Yeah.
and say, I can do that. I
Yeah.
can do that. I just had Captain Gabby. I call her Captain Gabby. I had her on here last week or the week before, and we were talking about she's a black pilot
Mhm.
flying for United Airlines,
Mhm.
and I was giddy. I was excited to talk to her, right? So can you imagine a little young girl, 5-6 years old, looking at her and say, I can do that. I
Yeah.
can be like that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. That's dope.
Yeah. Yeah. So healing isn't always pretty. What were some of the uncomfortable truths you had to
Ooh.
face about
Oh.
yourself during this process?
Oh Lord Jesus, these questions. No. Some of the ugly truths
Mhm.
were that I was not perfect and I need to okay, so let's shift to another chapter of the healing.
Mhm.
We're going to talk about my marriage and then my soon
Okay.
after divorce.
Okay.
A part of that healing was not taking on that narrative of pointing fingers and saying he did this, he did. Now he did do some stuff with the camera. He did do some stuff. Love him to death, sir, but
Period.
yeah. But not pointing the full finger at him, because
Just
I
the
think
hand.
I
No,
think
wait.
a lot of times we'll say, well, they did this and they did this, but taking accountability that I'm not perfect. While I thought I was doing
Mhm.
good, when I look back, I can see rooms where I could have done, areas where I could have done better. And so that was like an ugly truth to sit with, because I'm like, boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
execute, knock it out, get it done, hit the goal.
Yeah.
And I did not hit the goal there.
Mhm.
And so that was an ugly truth to accept, to learn, and to grow from.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think too, because we're both currently divorced now, right?
Mhm.
So I think too, did you find what you were taught or modeled what marriage was supposed to look like? Um, was that did that come into play for you when you got married? Because for me, it was just like, okay, as long as I do this, this, and that, I can safeguard my marriage. I could, it would be fine. And even with doing this, and that, right?
Yeah.
There was still, there were still issues. It was the barriers that we put up to protect our marriage was broken down.
Yeah.
So what you thought marriage was supposed to look like, and then now experiencing it,
Yeah.
was it very different than what you?
Yes, I think so. My mom and dad have been married. Don't do the math. Somebody else do the math. Since 1980.
Wow.
And so growing up, I seen what it looked like to stick it out and fight through it and
Mm.
figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where the essence of that has gone in 2024, 2025, but it is no longer here.
Mhm.
And so I definitely didn't, while I seen that growing up, that wasn't the essence of what showed up in my
Mhm.
marriage, because I think it is easier to say, huh, a little too much, I'm gonna step
Mhm.
out of here. But yeah, so I've seen what it looks like to fight through the challenging times, and I didn't experience that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you get married again?
Yes, I'm a wife.
All right.
Look,
Okay,
hold
wife.
on, camera.
All right.
Should I look closer?
Yeah.
I am a wife.
No, that's right. Even though Jen called you a hoe.
Right, with my white toes. Oh, oh, oh. I'm not a hoe wife. I'm a wife.
I love it. I love it. Listen, if you are just joining us, make sure you share this episode with someone that may need it. And if you have not done so yet, please subscribe to tonight's podcast. We're talking to the one and only Levante Dorsey, and we're talking about becoming her, walking in her empowered and healed self. And sometimes we see people walking around in the community. You know everybody. We can't go nowhere without you knowing somebody or somebody knowing you. But you see people, if you've ever been around Levante, ever met her personality, her spirit is contagious.
Oh,
She's just an amazing human being, and I truly mean that. But sometimes
I had someone tell me something really beautiful that was not expected, and I feel like a lot of times when I'm on social media, I try to tell people I'm just Levante. I'll pull my pants up the same way you do. I mean, I might got a little more tail, but I'll pull it up the same way.
Not tail. Jesus.
Okay, back to my best behavior. However, this person, and I thought it was so beautiful because this is a good friend, was saying that initially when she saw all that I was doing and like my success and my wins, there was that tinge of like jealousy that came up. And I'm like, I don't know if it was, I kind of said, I don't think it was jealousy. I think it was admiration. And of course you got that. How can I get that? But I never want people to look at me and think that I'm on like a high horse or like I'm not approachable or you can't ask me the essence of my journey or how I got there. So I hope if there's anybody else out there feeling the ways about me and what I do, I'm just figuring this out day to day like everybody else. So please don't feel that way.
Yeah. And the one thing that I can say about you is if there's something like you share information, if people want to know how to do something or you're going to share that information, you're going to empower them with that information. And I think that's what makes our sisterhood work so well as well, because we both are mental health therapists, but there's no competition here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She uplifts me, I'll uplift her. We support each other, and that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And the misconception about sisterhood is that we don't support each other as Black women, and I beg to differ, because we definitely support each other.
Yeah. And I want to see everybody win. I feel like it's enough out there to do so.
Yeah.
And so if you ever got a question of me, ask it. It's fine.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Jen says, no, honestly, you are such an amazing inspiration, and your energy is contagious. Yes,
Well, thank you.
Absolutely is.
Thank you.
Shout out to Ben Frank. Ben Frank says, bless. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to Delisa. Thank you for tuning in. And if you have any questions, make sure you put it in the chat. We will definitely get to your questions. And again, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to tonight's podcast. So, Levante, how did your relationship shift as you stepped into a more healed and empowered version of yourself?
When you say relationship,
so your relationships, like the people,
the situationships too. No.
Situationships, relationships,
Best
friendships, whatever ships you want to add. Because everybody's not always supportive, right? When we talk about, because sometimes when we're going through our healing journey, we have this thing called boundaries that we have to start putting in place, right? And just because we put boundaries in place doesn't mean that they have to be mean boundaries,
Yeah.
So did any ships period change or switch for you when you were on your journey?
Yeah, they died.
Well, they probably needed to die.
They
The
died.
ones that died needed to die.
They died. Yeah.
And were you okay with that?
I was. Initially, no, because you got an attachment to people and you think
Mhm.
like, oh, this is gonna bloom into something.
Mhm.
Whew, are we gonna talk about that situationship? We can. That situationship, you know about that
Yeah.
situationship
Uh-huh.
and what that person meant to me. And are you laughing, friend? I'm trying to pour out my heart here. Camera. I'm trying to pour it out here. What that person meant.
Mhm.
But then you get to a point where you realize maybe they were best for that one chapter, but the growth that you have experienced, they definitely can't be on that ride.
That part.
That part.
How do you know? Because there's people watching right now and they're entertaining rather their situationships, friendships, relationships, any ships that they got. They're entertaining people too long, people where they should have been let go.
Yeah. It didn't feel like a connection anymore. It didn't feel genuine to myself. There were things where it just felt like, I put up with that. Oh, girl, why? But yeah, and then it just fizzles naturally. This is the person you would have never told me I would have had the strength to step away from constant communication, everything, the loop back in, because you know how people like draw you back
in.
I wouldn't have thought that I had the strength, but even in breaking away from that was a part of becoming her too.
Yeah.
Because I learned like, oh, you can get some things done. You can do some things, some pretty powerful and difficult things. And it was very freeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we look at some of these relationships, situationships, we take from it what we need in that moment. But the healed, Lord, the healed version of us kind of looks back and we say, that was a distraction.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right? That was a distraction. So all that time I spent with this situation when I could have been doing this, now you can see it. But when you're in it, you can't see it.
No.
You can't see it.
And when I was in it, I would say I was very, should we say naive, friend? You can call it what it is. You know what it was. Naive, gullible, just matized. I don't know. But
you left out a
y'all
couple
put whatever
syllables.
word y'all want. Y'all put whatever word y'all want.
She was matized. Y'all know what that means.
But in essence, it just was not healthy. It was those promises of eventually we'll be something, and each roadblock where we were supposed to be something, it never came to fruition. It was that kind of manipulative tug that at times men and women, because I don't want no guys beat me up, but I'm talking about a man, can do to like loop you back in and have you thinking that this is where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so while of course everyone saw it before me, my friends, everybody, I had to see it for myself.
We wasn't in it.
Yeah. But I had to see it for myself, and I had to allow my heart to break because I still had to grieve and mourn the thought of what was gonna be and let that go, because I had dreams for that. But they probably watching this. If you watching, you heard me.
I know that's right. But yeah, sometimes we think that circling the block means that it comes with an attachment of, well, that person must really love me, or they must really miss me, right?
Ooh, look, he outside stalking me. That's love,
right? That's love, right?
It's not.
But
camera chin hiding behind trees. No one I was mad.
Throwing rocks at the window.
That's not love.
It's not love. Called stalking. That's what that's called. Yeah, it's not love at all. So that's good. But now you're out of that, right? And you're looking back and you're seeing, all the progress that you have made on that healing journey.
Yes, and the situationship was before the marriage, and so there was stuff.
Just to be clear,
them white toes don't really mean hope. It was before the marriage. But I took stuff from that and
Yeah.
learned in the marriage. But I would say definitely, and I can be honest, in the marriage, that part of me and being a businesswoman took priority over the marriage
Mhm.
in some many ways. And so my focus, was often distracted. That's my part that I can own.
Mhm.
Um, but you live and you learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe that, so let's go back. So the relationships that we're in, or relationships, situationships, whatever you want to call them, the relationships that we're in, a lot of times we focus on learning about the person,
Mhm.
loving the person.
Mhm.
And we very rarely, we don't do this until we've actually gone through our little healing journey. Do we understand who we are connected to the person?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So the relationships, the situationships that you were in before,
Yeah.
were you able to identify who you were connected to that person? Like,
No.
what did that person bring out of you?
I would say y'all would have thought I had multiple personalities because I was a different person in each relationship. I totally was. Because I think too, in a relationship, that person brings out a different version of you.
Right,
And
right.
so in one essence, I was more like laid back, you take control, I'll follow the lead. In another one, I feel like I was more the lead, and that was
Mhm.
probably a problem.
Mhm.
But in all of it, I don't feel like I was fully being true to myself. Because
Mm.
remember, I'm still coming from a lens of with being based on what people had, poured into me
Yeah.
negatively, that I'm just lucky that to have this person.
Mm.
Because in essence, being your plus size Levante self, you just lucky that someone wants you or wants to
Mm.
be with you. And so if I'm coming from that lens, I could never fully be myself
Yeah.
because I'm almost like don't mess up, or
Mhm.
am I making
Yeah.
sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. How does it feel to not have that on you now?
I think it's still a work in full progress.
Mhm.
But to learn and to just accept me for me feels pretty awesome.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's still those points where it kind of fights in, and I have to like fight back and say,
Yeah.
no, that's no longer true. That's not what we're owning. That's not who we're claiming to be.
Yeah.
But it's pretty freeing. I think, in especially after having Noah and going through, when I had my son is also when the marriage fell apart.
Yeah.
So that was like a total like dark
Mhm.
period. And to be able to have friends and
Mhm.
family and just God and fighting my way out of that showed me a total different version of myself.
Yes.
Um and the power and the essence that I have. And it made me realize that I'll no longer accept like the crumbs, like the
Mhm.
this is what you're giving me, so I gotta take it. No,
Mhm.
I'm the prize.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
come correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your value.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. What advice would you give to women who are just starting their journey towards becoming her?
Mm. Well, first, that the key thing that helped me through was my relationship with God. And I
Mhm.
know everybody has different beliefs, but for me, it was, and I still remember the prayer that I said when I was at that darkest time. And
Mm.
I said, God, I need to be able to raise and be a mom to Noah. I need you to
Mhm.
pull me out of this. And I promise you, it was night and day. And it was like a switch went off, and you better get out the way because guns was blazing. So definitely that relationship with the higher power,
Yeah.
definitely having those friends around you that you can be honest with and vulnerable with, and who will come. They pulled up on me, y'all, in my darkest. They took the trash out, but I'm sitting there looking like, why are y'all here? I don't want to cry in front of y'all as I'm bawling my eyes out. But having those friends that can like pull you together and are
Yeah.
always in your corner and supporting you. And then
Mhm.
just to be able to sit with yourself. It was on my walks at the riverfront, and just like that alone time, my getaways to the gay lord. Anybody
Don't
want to
tell
pay
don't
for?
tell them where you going at.
Oh,
friend.
no, yeah, I'm gonna tell you, because if you want to send some
Don't
money for it, because I love my getaways.
All
So
right.
if you want to be a sponsor to Lavante's getaway time, and the cool thing about that, the connection with God and the getaways gave me such clarity that it helped me create new things for the
Yes.
business and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say definitely tune into all of that on the
Yeah.
healing journey.
It's important. It's important. So we have a couple comments. Michelle Washington is watching. What's up, Michelle?
I know what she
She
said
says
already.
Levante.
Every time.
Delisa Lewis says, this is good. Thank you for tuning in. And we also have a question. Okay. Rockefeller Patrick says, first of all, thank you for tuning in tonight. How do you deal with leaving behind people you really love in order to be the better version of yourself?
that
Mhm.
sacrifice can be very challenging. Along this journey, I did lose some friends, and of course I lost relationships. But I still look at it as like, I do miss them. You're always going to miss people and, wonder how they're doing. But when you think about the version of yourself that would have been held back versus who you are today, it's well worth the trade-off. And so you're going to have some emotions. You're going to grieve. You might need to cry it out, but you got to let it go to get to who you're supposed to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's okay to self-preserve.
Yeah.
Right. It's really important. And at some point, especially if you're a person that is, if you're a helper, like you and I we're natural helpers, right? You're always going to give so much to other people. And what comes with that sometimes is we don't give to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I use for my clients is somebody gets a no. Somebody gets a no. So if you're a yes person and you're saying yes to everything, guess who gets the no?
Yeah.
You get the no.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You get the no. And sometimes it doesn't have to be a no. It can just be a not right now. But you got to learn how to set healthy boundaries, even with people that you love, even with people that you cherish. My mom knows, and if she's watching, she knows. I put some boundaries in place with my mom, and she know that, right? But I love her to death, and that's my mama, right?
Yeah.
But I have to say yes to myself sometimes, and saying yes to me means that you may get a no, or you may get a not right now.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. But what happens is we live in a society where people are not used to, they don't want to hear no.
They don't.
Right? And when you say no, then now that determines how I'm going to interact with you. But my thing is, if you truly love me,
you respect my no.
Then you will respect my no.
Yeah.
Right? So I hope that happens. And thank you for tuning in from the UK.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So if there's any more questions, please put them in the chat, because we definitely want to address everybody's question tonight. All right. So you gave your advice to women about starting their own healing journey. And I think also understanding that, and we've said this earlier, that healing is not a destination. Right. So you said you've been on multiple healing journeys, and that's normal. So as soon as you feel like you've healed from one thing, here's
Lord,
something else
I'm
coming.
tired. Lord, we can end it. No more healing. No,
Here comes something else to heal from, right? So it's important to be open to that.
Yeah. But if I may talk to the Lord,
go ahead.
I'm done, Lord. I have fought the fights. The battle is no longer one I want to be on. I was telling Janice today. Oh, and I sent her what the questions would be. She said, I'm going to use them as journal prompts. So
okay. Shout out to Janice.
Yeah. I was telling her, like, ooh, so now I ended situationships, divorce, and now it's like, okay, now I gotta do what I usually advise people on and be open, since I am a wife, to the risk of love and letting someone have my heart again. And that is pretty scary.
Yeah. So how are you doing with that?
Well, we're gonna find out. That's the next chapter.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you what helped me.
Yeah.
What in the you on this y'all. Let me tell you what helped me.
Let me hear, friend.
So I feel like I think I'm having a hot flash.
I bet you are, friend. Because I want to hear this.
I got high all of a sudden. Wait a minute. Let me try to remember what I was saying.
Listen, because I was there, so let me hear.
What helped me was I had to learn to trust myself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
A lot of times we focus, we especially if you've come out of a relationship where you got hurt.
Yeah.
Right. And it's you have this, I'll never trust again. I'll never trust another man, or I never trust another woman. I'll never give anybody my heart. All of that. If you live your life like that, you will never be happy. You're going to be miserable, because at some point you're going to have to trust. You're going to have to trust. But the main thing is trusting yourself, learning how to trust yourself.
Yeah.
Regardless of what he or she may be doing.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? It means that if I trust myself, although I might be in a situation where you may do me harm, or you're trying to do me harm, I trust myself enough to know my worth and my value, where I can remove myself from that situation.
Yeah.
That's where your trust needs to be. It's not about trusting the other person. It's trusting you.
I like that, friend.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but don't play with me.
Don't play with her. It's about trusting you, for sure.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Shout out Ashley Cooper. Thank you for tuning in.
Ashley.
Ashley says, yeah, the multiple healing journeys. Yes, ma'am.
That's my girl. Ashley
It's
always
real.
comes through. She be like, I was just thinking of you. I'll be like, oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, she's we've had Ashley on the show. She's a sweetheart. She's doing amazing things too.
Yes.
So yeah. So I have some fun questions for you.
All right.
And again, if you guys want to throw some questions in the chat, please do so. All right. So in one word, her energy looks like.
What? I don't even know this many words, friend. Her energy looks like.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What does your energy look like?
Levante. No, that's not a description. My energy looks like energy. I'm the definition of energy. You know how Beyonce got the song? Energy. That's me.
She's a big Beyonce fan, if y'all don't know that.
Next month is the day. I'll be there next month. Turning up with Layla.
Oh my gosh. So your energy looks like what?
Energy. I don't know. This is a hard question. What do you think my energy looks like?
It's contagious.
Oh,
it's contagious.
I'm contagious, y'all.
Yeah, it's definitely contagious.
No, I like that. I have heard people say, and I'll own it because multiple people have said it, that when I walk in, I light up the room.
Yeah.
And so I'll own that. Yeah.
So it's a saying that I have about that when you said when you walk in the room. I think we look at that and say when you walk in the room, people, you're going to change the room. I mean, people are going to change when you walk in the room, right? And I totally just messed that up. Totally messed that up because that's not what I was trying to say. It's supposed to be when you walk in the room, you change the room. The room shouldn't be changing you.
Yeah.
You change the room. And I feel that way about you. When you walk in a room, it's like this big sunshine. This sunshine that is like, people want to know, who is this person? Why is she happy? Why is she laughing? She's the first one on the dance floor.
I am.
I want to be around her because it's very contagious.
Yeah.
You know
the funny thing, a lot of people think that I can always be on like that. I'm not. And actually doing the assembly at William Penn, I was a mess. But in essence, it is me and my energy that really, those kids had a good time. And teenagers are, they're a little difficult because they be in their own, vibe.
Yeah.
But y'all got to check it out if you see the video.
Can you let people know about what you're doing? Because you're doing some amazing things.
Oh, so that is the True to You Mental Health Initiative. All right. And what I do is I go to different schools and just really talk about mental health for our students. And we play a fun Family Feud game. It's a competition. I have DJ Kill. We dance. And if you go to my social media, you'll see a little bit. I'm going to add a new video soon of my time at William Penn and just how fun that was. But I think it's important to start getting our teenagers talking about and understanding what
Mhm.
mental health is, because a lot of our teens are struggling. And from that assembly, we identified 14 students who needed help that no one
That's
quite knew about.
awesome.
And
That's
so,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. And I believe if you can just one person,
yeah,
just one person is enough.
yeah.
You know, it's enough. What's one non-negotiable in your self-care routine?
Non-negotiable. Oh, I probably need to strengthen that. Non-negotiable. Um, when I need my resets, I need my resets.
Mhm.
And so I'm no longer pushing that aside to say, like, I'm not going to do it because I have all of this going on.
Yeah.
I have to make sure I make time for those resets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because my last reset at the Gaylord, if anybody wants to donate, was amazing. It really helped me to figure out. That's where I came up with Talk It Out, where I go in the park and
Mhm.
sit and let people talk. And so what?
That can we talk about that, please? Okay. So thank you for bringing that up.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So listen, over when did you start that?
Last year.
Last year. Okay.
Mhm.
So last year, and you started at the park, right? It was on Newcastle Park is where
At
you
Battery
started
Park.
that?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
So last year, Levante came up with this ideal um called Talk It Out. And she basically took a chair, a table, put some flowers on the table, and
Mhm.
she sat out there and she waited for people to walk past, and if they wanted to sit down and talk and have a conversation with her, as a therapist, and they didn't know she was a therapist, right?
Mm.
But this is the space.
Yeah.
This is how you give back. You created a space for someone to sit down, to be able to talk about whatever it was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What did that feel like for you, giving that service freely to people?
Yeah.
And what was your experience? How was people responding to it?
So it's funny. It came from my time away. And I said, God, I know I'm a mental health therapist, but is that really what you want me to do? Like, show me this weekend. However, God, I'm on a break and I don't want to
Mhm.
talk to nobody. Remember, I texted all my family and friends. I said, don't call me, don't text me. And when I tell you that whole weekend, he brought complete strangers to talk to me for hours. I said, okay, God, I get it. And I said, how can I duplicate this? Because people just need that space to
Yeah,
release.
yeah.
And I didn't want it to be like what I get, paid for daily. I wanted the freedom to go when I want to go, to sit. Like, I don't tell people
Mhm.
when I'm going, you better just see the post that I'm there. And people are like shocked. So I'm anxious sitting there because I'm like, is anybody going to sit there? But it's also cool because I'm by the water. So I'm
Yes.
also good.
Yeah.
And people are walking by and they're reading it and they're like, wow, that is so great. That is so great that you're doing
Mhm.
that. And then some people are like, wait, I can really sit down and you're going to listen to
Yeah.
me. And I'm like, yeah, come on, have a seat.
Yeah.
And so it's cool because other therapists have saw it and said, I want to do it in my
Mhm.
area.
Mhm.
Katie Cutler from Cafe Karma invited me to come and sit up there. So that was
Nice.
cool. And so I've just been waiting for it to get a little bit warmer. And of course, I'm going to go out and do it.
Yeah.
But I like the freedom of it. I don't want to turn it into anything else but what it is.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to feel like obligated or bogged down by it. But just,
Yeah.
giving back.
I would love to join you one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just let me know, and I'm gonna come out there and I'm gonna sit down with you, and
Yes.
we're gonna talk it out. I think it's
Yes.
an amazing thing. It's an amazing idea. Let's look at some of the comments. All right. So Ashley has a question. She says, "What are some of the most common emotional wounds you see in women, and how do you guide them to begin healing from patterns that no longer serve them?"
Okay,
That's
Ashley.
a really good question.
That's my Ashley. I hope you help me with this one.
Of course.
The common emotional wounds definitely go back to a lot of what I'm seeing lately in sessions have to
Mhm.
do with the core family and that dynamic, and how the women have had relationship with their mothers and their fathers,
Mhm.
and then how in turn it's affecting their current day relationships. Just
Mhm.
those key pieces that we don't notice, like that our parents have kind of unintentionally
Yeah.
instilled in us. I mean, I just started giving people hugs. Y'all know I don't like to be touched, but I
I
know
always hug her.
I hate it.
I hugged
Well,
her
I
when she
did
came
hate
in the
it.
studio.
I'm getting better with it, but I know it's because we didn't do all that lovey-dovey
Yeah.
stuff growing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
But in adulthood, people want to hug me for some reason, and I need to be more receptive. So that's like silly, but it's the
Mhm.
essence to who I needed to be. And so I think when it comes to those wounds, the key is you got to be able to discover and recognize them. And
Mhm.
then you begin meeting with a licensed counselor,
Mhm.
or you could do some journal prompts that help you do. But I really think it's better to talk to a therapist to help you kind of process it out and piece it together.
Yeah, yeah. So that's good. So yours was what was yours? I know you just said it, but you said common,
The family
family,
one. Yep.
right? Okay. So I would say, Ashley, a lot of the work that I'm doing right now with women, Black women specifically, and I know when I say this, you're probably going to relate, is that we're tired of being told how strong we are. I'm saying that, not that we're not, because we are.
Yeah.
But sometimes when we're told how strong you are, it makes a woman feel like she can't be vulnerable, because her
Yeah.
vulnerability will be considered a form of weakness.
Yeah.
Right. So I see a lot of women that are tired, that are burned out. They're moms. They have careers. They're entrepreneurs. They're holding the families down. They're doing all of these things except for just being and being present. We are not living in the moments. We're too focused on what we got to do the next day, or we can't sit and be in a good conversation because now I'm thinking about what I got to cook for dinner. I got to do all of these things, right? And we're not spending time with ourselves. Levante and I both are very big on dating ourselves, taking ourselves to dinner, spending that time with ourselves. For me, that's my non-negotiable. I have to have time for myself, because if I don't, then I'm not going to be good for anybody else. And that's just my way of resetting, right? So the support would be is giving yourself permission to not have to be on all the time, giving yourself permission to just be and to live life, and know that being strong is also being available. It's also being vulnerable. It's also being able to set boundaries, right? So those are the things that I see that's coming in right now. And then the other thing would be imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah.
That's a really big one as well. So these are things that is happening. And I think that the more we talk about it and the more that we support each other, the support, to answer your question, I feel, is sharing stories, sharing, normalizing. Levante went through a divorce. I went through the divorce first. I shared.
Yeah. Yeah.
I talked about it. I told her, right? And she took what she needed, and what she didn't need it, she left it there, right? So had I not shared my story.
Yeah. And remember, because we would meet after sessions and like talk it all out.
Yeah.
And I would have never known how important just the essence of that and that pouring in would be to Sarah. Because I tell you all the time, you're like an amazing example. And I take so much from you, even definitely in motherhood.
Thank you.
But yeah, I would have never known when I would have needed to take that. But I am happy to have had, unfortunately, but yes, that example.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because it's important. And that's why I say sisterhood is very, very important. But dating yourself is a big thing, Ashley. Even if you are in a relationship, or even if you are married, still date yourself.
Yeah.
Take yourself out on dates. Go to dinner by yourself. Don't worry about if people looking around. Most people are not looking around. You just hyper sensitive at the moment.
I'll be thinking I am VIP when I am there by myself. Yes, can I get a little extra bread and butter?
Yeah. And she said she likes to go on trips, by herself, and I do the same. So it's important, and I think it's very much needed.
Definitely.
Yep. Thank you for the question, Ashley. So my next question to you is, if you could give her a theme song, I already know what this is going to be.
Whoa.
What would it be?
I'm gonna throw you a wild card. Because you think it's gonna be Beyonce. I already know.
Okay.
That's what you think.
I do. It's not a Beyonce song?
No,
What?
it's not, because the Lord is good. And
Okay.
he is the, one who done
All
got me
right.
through.
I love
And
that.
so in my toughest moments, in the song that really got me through, and I can't remember her name, of course, but it's Jesus Will.
Mm. Okay.
And I can't think who opens doors that I cannot see. Jesus will. Oh,
Yes.
Jesus will. You know her name. I can't
Sing,
think of it right now.
friend.
Oh, but no, that song helped me through so
Yes,
much,
I
so
love it.
much of the tough moment. Who
I
is it?
love
Yes,
it.
it's her. Anita Wilson.
Anita
Yes.
Wilson.
Mhm.
Okay. I love it. I love it. I love
So
it.
yeah, that's her theme
Yeah.
song.
It's amazing what music does
Oh my
to
gosh.
the soul, man.
Yeah.
Music is so healing. Is the one thing that we all across the world just have in common is music.
Yeah.
No matter what form, music is very healing, and it definitely speaks to you. So
Yeah. All right, and then if you want a Beyonce
Shout.
one, it'll be Church Girl. Drop
Church
it like
Girl?
a thotty. Drop it. Drop
hey, hey,
it. Any
I
Beyonce
can't
one.
with you.
It was actually Beyonce's documentary, Life is But a Dream.
That you made us watch before your wedding.
Correct. It was that one I watched in
promise you that's
all
true,
my.
y'all.
It is true. It was
We watched the Beyonce documentary
while we're getting our makeup.
while we're
done.
getting our makeup done and in our
Everything.
wedding, in my bridal gown,
Yes.
bridesmaid gown.
Yes. Yes.
I said, okay.
Yeah, because Beyonce helps me. Okay, she encourages me. It builds me up,
Yeah.
and yeah.
What is it about? I mean, what seriously? If you can say one thing that, because she gets such a bad rap, right?
Because people
As
are
well.
awkward and weird.
She gets a bad rap. But what is that one thing that really motivates you about Beyonce?
She creates her own lane,
Mm-hmm.
and while the world is criticizing her, she still finds a way to be herself and express herself and her creativity and innovation how she wants to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Ellen says, such an important conversation. Hi, Ellen. Sisterhood is necessary.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
It definitely is necessary. All right. So here's another question. We got another one coming in. Okay. Yep. We've already addressed that one. Hi, Sarah. All right. So healed me versus unhealed me.
Mm.
What's the biggest difference?
Not the white toenails. Healed me
that too.
versus unhealed me. And it's still a full work in progress. But healed me is very intentional about hearing God's voice, my prayer life, and being around people like Ashley who will pour into me with the word and scripture. Because I promise you, I would not be where I am if I didn't have those sacred moments where I know God is directing me and telling me what to do. Even those examples I just gave, like, he literally guides me through everything. But the unhealed me was so focused on the situationships and the men and what they was doing that I couldn't even hear clear.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, for sure. Excuse me. Healed me versus the unhealed me. And I want to say this because we both have acknowledged that healing journey is an ongoing process.
Yeah.
There's always something that you're healing from. Unhealed me didn't know her worth, her value, her self-esteem was low. She didn't really understand the definition of love. She thought that as long as she can love and she loved hard, that would be reciprocated. The unhealed me was searching for father love in a lot of the relationships. The healed me says that I'm enough. The healed me says that I am a child of God, and that as long as I keep him as my foundation, that even in those tough times, even in those moments where it feels dark, that I'm still going to be okay.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I had to learn, that no matter what it was that I went through, I will always be okay.
Yeah.
I will always be okay. And the healed me also can identify that these are moments, like I'm going to have a moment where life is life and life feels good. Everything is going good. Like 2024 was an amazing year, right? And until towards the end, when I started getting, it went a little bit left, and I had to go through some things. But sometimes when we're going through things, we look at it and we're like, why me? Why do I have to go through this? But why not you? Right? And if you look in the circle of people that you have, your sisterhood, the issues that you're going through, if you can't carry those things, well, who would you give it to? Right? So the things that are designed for me to go through, I can't give to you because they're not designed for you.
True.
You got your own stuff.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So when we say why me, I say why not you? And you got to remember that God already knows what was ahead of you. Who already knows what you was going to be faced with. You know what I'm saying? You're just going through the motion of things, right? And then the other thing is that the things that you're going through, the things that you're being challenged with, that's just training. Like you being trained.
Yeah.
You being trained. It's you're just going through the tough part. You being trained because there's something greater that's coming.
Yes.
So the healed me understands that. The unhealed me, child. It'll be like, oh my God, it's never going to get better. I'm always going to feel like this. But that's not the truth. So yeah, so that's the difference.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited. I'm really excited about what's to come. You're doing some amazing things in the community. You're an amazing friend. A wonderful mother. You're my sister.
Yeah.
And y'all already know how I feel about her. I love her to death. And we got we have some great things coming up. I know you got some things that you're working on that's going to be coming up soon. Are you planning on doing the Girls Academy again this year?
The Lord hasn't spoken on that one yet, but he always speaks when it's time. And I always say I'm waiting, and then he says it. So I'm just waiting right now, but people have started to ask about it.
Okay.
I will be at Mount Pleasant High School at the end of this month for their girls panel with Tara Pritchett.
Shout out to Tara.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I will be joining the National Coalition of 100 Black Women at the end of this month they have an online panel discussion.
Okay.
So a couple events coming up, and we'll be out in the community at different vending events, starting with this weekend, Saturday, actually, with Coach B. It'll be at the school right next to Newcastle Middle. I can't think of it. Newcastle Elementary. We'll be there this Saturday, just sharing some mental health resources with the community.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Levante, I appreciate you taking time to sit with me tonight.
Thank you.
I hope this has been inspiring for everybody that has been watching. Do you have any last minute words or comments you would like to leave with the people?
No, I love you all.
Did she just say no?
Go with Jesus.
Did you just say go with Jesus? I can't with you. I cannot. Listen, guys, tonight, if you are wondering what I am wearing a shirt that says "Talk Bougie to Me." Okay.
Nice.
So this actually comes from bougiemoments.com. So if you would like to purchase your shirt, Talk Bougie to Me, she has a lot of different ones. You can go to bougiemoments.com and get your shirt. She has one that says go bougie or go home. And I live for the bougie moments. I thought this one was cute. Talk bougie to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got told I was bougie this weekend. I said, thank you.
So shout out to her, and shout out to Sarah, because I actually purchased this from Sarah's event that she had on Tuesday. So that was a really great time. So make sure you check her out. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you to Levante again. And again, please put your information out there again if people are looking for therapy.
Just go to my social media, Levante Dorsey, and you'll figure out how to get to the
You know what?
website.
I can't. We'll put it in the chat so
It is in there.
you'll have those connections.
Yes, yes.
Until next Monday night, guys, you have a wonderful evening. Have a blessed night and make sure you take care of yourselves. Thank you. God bless. Have a good
Woke up
Bye.
this morning, sun so bright.